Okay, it's 4 o'clock, August the 9th, and I call to order the meeting of the Citrus County School Board. I was looking at Doug, I thought he was going to say something, but, okay, Doug, you have the opening exercise?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. We're getting excited here as we get ready to start school back, and the teachers are already back, and school starts tomorrow. So we're looking forward to a great school year, and we just are so appreciative for the hard work of the administration and staff, teachers who have worked so diligently to get us ready. And we got some technology strides we've made again this year, and so I'm excited for what we have in store for us. We also have a referendum ahead for a half-cent sales tax for capital outlay, which is critical to the success, I believe, of our schools. And so with that, we have some work to be done just to talk to people about our needs and our revenue shortfalls, cuts that we've experienced over the last 5 to 8 years. And I hope that all of us, I know the board, we've been out there working diligently, but we need to spread the word to talk to people about our needs and the needs for our students. And so certainly if there's anyone out there who has a civic group or an organization that would like to have a discussion on our sales tax referendum, I know the board and the superintendent will be more than happy to come out and speak with your group to talk about those needs and how the half-cent sales tax will tremendously benefit our schools and our students. Today, I would like to open with a recognition of the Purple Heart Day was August the 7th, which was Sunday, and we were invited to attend a breakfast in honor of our Purple Heart organization that represents Citrus County, and I've asked 2 of those members to come in and tell us a little bit more about the Purple Heart program. We are a Purple Heart School District, the first in the nation, and I know Mrs. Himmel has a special plaque that we see down here in front of us that is going to be another ceremony ahead, but what a great way to recognize our Purple Heart combat wounded veterans. And so I've asked Bud Allen and I've asked Kurt Evans if they could please come up and tell us a little bit about Purple Heart Day and the things here in Citrus County. Yes, come up to the podium, please. Thank you all for coming in.
Our pleasure. Thanks for inviting us. It's a privilege to be here. We really appreciate the support of the school district and the community in our endeavors to promote the legacy of the Purple Heart in the community and to make people aware of combat wounded veterans that live here. And there's a number that live in Citrus County. So our efforts are to be a strong force in helping those in need in that regard. And we look forward to partnerships with the school district, with some of the communities, everybody that wants to assist us in this endeavor. We appreciate it, and we appreciate the support of the veterans. With that, Kurt would like to give you a little history on the history of the Purple Heart. Many of you have probably heard it before, but it's always good because each time you hear it, you pick up a little bit more. So I always enjoy listening to it because if anybody said, swing from the hip, it wouldn't happen. I couldn't do it. I have to look at it. So we appreciate it. Colonel?
Distinguished members of the Citrus County School District and School Board, it's a privilege and an honor to have the opportunity to retell the history of the Purple Heart. As you will learn when I read it to you that the creation of the Purple Heart was 234 years ago in 1782 by our first president and our first commander-in-chief, General George Washington. And after the Revolutionary War, the medal was lost to history until it was rediscovered in 1932. So it's a story that should be retold over and over. The Purple Heart has a historical distinction of being the first American decoration awarded to common soldier and the oldest military decoration in the world in present use. Exclusively a combat decoration The Purple Heart is awarded to members of the Armed Forces of the United States wounded by an instrument of war in the hands of the enemy, and posthumously to the next of kin in the name of those who are killed in action or died of wounds received in action. American combat injuries and losses in the war against global terrorism have made Americans more aware of the Purple Heart. Nonetheless, most know little about its legacy, which is rooted in America's struggle for independence. To recognize the outstanding valor and merit of his soldiers, General George Washington granted commissions or advances in rank. However, in the summer of 1782, a Continental Congress ordered a halt to the practice since no funds existed to pay the soldiers, much less grant them commissions or advances in rank. Deprived of his means for recognizing a common soldier, General Washington created the Purple Heart Decoration, then known as the Badge of Military Merit, for, and I quote, instances of unusual gallantry, extraordinary fidelity, and essential service, end of quote. As established in his general orders 234 years ago on August 7th, 1782, the decoration was to have the figure of a heart in purple cloth or silk, edged with narrow lace or binding. General Washington's reasons for choosing a figure of a heart on purple silk for the first decoration are not definitively known, but most surmise that the heart, emblematic of love and devotion, symbolized a soldier's love of country and his or her devotion to duty. The choice of purple silk may have been selected for both its pragmatism and symbolism. Purple dye is the oldest dye known to man and is known to all the cultures of the world. And silk has a natural affinity to dye. Historically, purple has symbolized royalty, and silk has been associated with value and scarcity, having been sold for its weight in gold during the reign of the Roman Empire. After America's war for independence, the Purple Heart was lost to history for almost 150 years until 1931. Then Army Chief of Staff General Douglas MacArthur, desiring a new decoration to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, initiated a search of his historical papers. The search rediscovered the Purple Heart with the dramatic accounts of 3 Revolutionary War soldiers from Connecticut who had received the decoration from General Washington. With its rediscovery, the Army reinstated a redesigned Purple Heart on February 22nd, 1932 as a combat award exclusively for a wound which necessitates treatment by a medical officer and which is received in action with an enemy. The redesigned decoration is of metal instead of perishable cloth or silk, made in the shape of a heart of purple enamel bordered with gold. A relief profile of General Washington is in the center with his coat of arms at the top. The inscription for military merit is engraved on the back of the decoration. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt extended the award of the Purple Heart to the Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard by executive order on December 3rd, 1942. President Harry S. Truman made it retroactive to April 5th, 1917 to include World War I veterans. Since General Washington first awarded the Purple Heart in 1783 to Sergeants William Bryan, Elijah Churchill, and Daniel Bissell, there have been over 1.7 million Purple Heart recipients. Today, there are more than 500,000 living Purple Heart recipients, with approximately 130 residing in Citrus County. Since its rediscovery in 1932, the original figure of a heart on purple silk has become a badge of honor that recognizes those patriots who have selflessly shed their blood or made the supreme sacrifice on the field of battle to preserve our cherished American way of life. Thus, we as a community and as a nation have a duty to never allow America's Purple Heart legacy and the individual sacrifice that it embodies to ever again fade from public consciousness or to be lost to history. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to turn it over to Superintendent.
At this time, I'd like to read our proclamation that the school board adopted when we became a Purple Heart District, and I'd like to read it so it'll go back into the minutes today. Whereas the Purple Heart, originally known as the Military Badge of Merit, is the oldest military decoration in the world in present use and the first American Service Award established for the common soldier by the General Orders of General George Washington on August 7, 1782. And whereas the War Department adopted the Purple Heart in commemoration of the bicentennial anniversary of General George Washington's birth on February 22nd, 1932, as a combat award exclusively for members of the armed forces of the United States who were killed, died of wounds, or wounded by an enemy instrument of war. And whereas over 1.7 million members of the armed forces of the United States have been awarded the Purple Heart for selflessly sacrificing their lives or shedding their blood on the field of battle in defense of our republic and its cherished freedoms. And whereas the Military Order of the Purple Heart was formed and chartered by an act of Congress in 1932 as the only veterans organization exclusively for combat wounded veterans. And whereas Citrus County, Florida is home to scores of Purple Heart recipients and Aaron A. Weaver Chapter 776 of the Military Order of the Purple Heart. Whereas the School District of Citrus County, Florida pledges its enduring appreciation to all Purple Heart recipients for their extraordinary battlefield sacrifice and bravery, as well as its strong support of the Military Order of the Purple Heart as a national organization dedicated to preserving the proud legacy of the Purple Heart. Now, therefore, on this date of May 5th, 2014, I, Sandra Sam Himmel, with the authority vested to me by a unanimous vote of the school board, do hereby designate the School Board District of Citrus County, Florida, Purple Heart School District, signed by myself, Sandra Sam Himmel, and Thomas Kennedy, Chairman of the School Board.
Madam Superintendent, when you all became the first Purple Heart school district in the nation, you clearly affirmed that you are certainly the most patriotic school district in the nation. So thank you very much.
And thank you. We also want to say thank you all for everything, your support for the school district, your volunteers, your veterans in the classroom. I tell everybody that Citrus County is very successful because of our community, and we certainly appreciate our veterans in Citrus County and all over. Thank you.
And the plaque that we have here.
And our plaque, and I
Yes.
wish I could hold it up for a picture.
I wish
but-
I could look at it.
Yeah. So,
Nice on you. Forward you.
Maybe it's this.
Not the whole.
No.
I just wanna see it.
You look great.
It's pretty good.
here, bud, I'll get it.
We'll flank this way.
Okay? Y'all want to stand up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate you folks.
You'll make great breakfast. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bud. Take care. Thank you.
See, that's really good. He always has energy. Yeah.
Carry on.
Thank you, always, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dodd, you have something else?
Yes, I do. I would like to just take one moment to recognize the service of one of our school board members who passed away, Patience Nave. She served on the school board from November 19, 1996 to November 16, 2004. She was a gentle lady. I remember her. I did not obviously serve on the board with her, but I think all three of you ladies served on the board, if my dates are correct, right? You all served on the board with her.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, you did not,
No, I
okay,
didn't.
just Ginger
I did,
and Sam, and so I didn't know if there was anything either one of you wanted to say in memory of her or in recognition of her service.
She was an awesome lady, and she taught me a lot about being on the school board.
And I,
Patience was, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Okay. Now, I didn't know it until I talked with her one time that she had taught school all over the world, English. Of course, she read very closely everything Doug, just like you do, just like I do. But she had so much knowledge, and she would go out for WYKE television. She would interview us, and we'd talk. And if you sat there and you said something Patience didn't agree with, she'd let you know right then and there she didn't agree with what you said. But just an awe-inspiring person, such a great board member, a great human being, wonderful mother.
And I'll let, if I can just say then, the superintendent can wrap it up. When I was considering running for office, I went and visited Patience, and she was so kind to try and bestow some of her wisdom of being on the board, and she was very gracious to that. She gave me one bit of advice that to this day I take very much to heart, and she said there's going to be tough days as a board member. And there's going to be days when things get very confusing and they get very cloudy in the decisions. And she said, just go to the schools and be around the kids. And she says it'll all come back into clarity what you need to be doing. So I shared that in the summit.
I was just gonna say, she was a precious, precious lady. And I called her about a week before she passed away. And she answered the phone. I said, hey, Patience. She said, oh, Sam, I'm getting ready to go to heaven. And we must have talked for 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And I said, you know what? We're getting ready to be reunited with Wallace. And that was her husband. And she said, but what's more exciting, I'm getting ready to see Jesus face to face. So she was just a precious lady. She walked the walk. She truly loved Citrus County Schools. And in that conversation, she said, you know, I never would run for school board when you were superintendent because I would never be able to go against you. But she was a good lady, good family.
All right, thank you all. And with that, I've invited Pastor Greg Kell to come up and open us up in a word of prayer. And I've asked him to remember the Patience Nave's family as he prays, and also our students as we kick off the school year. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you for letting me come. I was here the day that you became a Purple Heart District, so I was glad that it worked out that I could be back here today. But thank you so much. I'm married to one of your employees, so tomorrow's a big day at our house too, and I have 3 grandchildren that are in the Citrus County school system, and so my oldest is starting at Enris Middle School tomorrow, and my wife is about to have a heart attack because we have a middle school grandchild now. So, but thank you for the privilege, Doug, of being here with us. Let's pray, please. Father, as we look back and give thanks for Miss Nave and for her service to this community and specifically to the school district here, we thank you for her influence, which obviously lives far beyond her years here on earth. Thank you for her and her life and her service and people like her, Lord, who are willing to sacrifice their time and their heart to give of themselves to serve. Perhaps no greater area has more investment property for the long term than in the school system. And so I thank you for her and for this board and for the leadership here, that you would bless them as we begin a new school year tomorrow. I pray beginning early morning for each of the buses and bus drivers as they run their routes, that they would be safe. I pray, Lord, for administrators and for teachers and for support staff as they all come together, that not only will tomorrow be a smooth and a good first day, but much more important, it'll be the beginning of a wonderful year. Lord, I pray that you would bless the Citrus County School District in an unusual way this year. Not just the learning that will take place in classrooms across our county, but the relationships as well that'll be built and that'll be strengthened. For we see already today, and we see it every day in our life, the impact of relationships and how they last us and oftentimes the rest of our life. So bless them today as they serve and work. Lord, we're mindful of the men and women who have sacrificed in our military to make our country free, to protect that today, those who are still serving. And so as we stop for a moment to recognize those men and women who have been honored with a Purple Heart, I pray that we would never forget, Lord, that our investment in our fellow man, our investment in our community, and our investment in our country is always worth it, though it may be costly. Bless them today as they serve and as they work. Give them wisdom and discernment. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you again.
All please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before I ask for the adoption of the agenda, just wanted to say, yesterday was my granddaughter's birthday, and Thomas, I was so thankful for technology because I got to get FaceTime while she and her sister were opening presents, and it was like you were right there in the room, part of it. And she's 1,000 miles away, but I was there, so good things going. And today's my daughter's birthday, so I just want to say hello to my daughter for that happy birthday. Could I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Move to adopt?
Second?
It's been moved by Ms. Bryan, seconded by Mr. Kennedy to adopt the agenda as recommended by the superintendent. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 4-0. Almost said 5. We're gonna have 4-0. The citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens' comments? Okay, thank you. Could we approve the,
Move to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
thank you. It was moved by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Dodd to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries 4-0. Thank you. Recognition of donations.
We have a $2,000 donation to Citrus High School from Todd Mize, a $500 donation to Chris River Middle School from the Florida High School Athletic Association, $1,000 donation to Full City Elementary School from Wells Fargo Foundation, $1,000 donation to Lecanto High School from Anti-Drug Coalition, and $2,100 donation to Crystal River High School from an anonymous donor.
Oh, that's excellent. We have people to donate to us that really believe in the system as we believe in the system, and we really appreciate them. Excuse me. Next we have Ms. Jessica Barnes.
Okay. As a first grade teacher at Forest Ridge, I was very rushed to get here today and get everything ready. But Kayla's Coates would like to donate $5,000 to the Citrus County School Board for the second grade swim program. We did this last year as well. And drowning is the leading cause of death in children 1 to 4, or under the age, between the ages of 1 and 4 in Florida. And Florida is leading the country in child drownings of children under the age of 4 as a result of an accident. So it's our mission to make sure that we are sharing water safety. We don't want to see another child drowned. It's been a lot lately. It's summer months. You know, we are a peninsula surrounded by water. Many of our kids don't have the opportunities or the exposures to go swim. They don't know how to swim. Their parents don't know how to swim. So it's very important that we feel the second grade swim program is so beneficial to our students. And I'm very excited that we're partnering with the Y this year as well. So that I know is going to be just one more step up. We partner with the Y as well as swim scholarships. So if some of you don't know, my daughter drowned in 2010. So we started Kayla's Coats, and we provide coats, which we're having our coat drive September to October, and then we'll distribute in November on her birthday to the elementary schools and then the middle and high if they need them. So we are donating $5,000 to help with transportation or whatever needs.
Thank you. That's wonderful of you to do that. We really appreciate everyone does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need a vote to approve that?
I
move to approve it.
Second?
It's been moved by Ginger, seconded by Mr. Kennedy to approve the donation of $5,000 from Kayla's Coats. All in favor?
I just want to say to Jessica, thank you. Thank you. And it's just thank you.
And have a great day tomorrow.
I will try. No recess because of the rain, it's great. We get home, we get fed, we're good.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries 4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bishop?
Actually not.
Actually not, right.
Sorry, you look a little nicer than
Ms.
Miss.
Swain. I didn't change, Johnny.
You will notice that we've been hiring, if you look at the goldenrod, so, which is a good thing.
That is a good thing.
So I would ask that you approve the goldenrod, those instructional support recommendations as outlined in the goldenrod.
I move that we approve the instructional and support recommendations.
Second. Who's second? Todd. It's been moved by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Dodd, to approve the instructional and support recommendations. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody left that needs to be hired? I mean, this is a lot.
We're still working through, we have at this time 27 openings. We have 10 at the elementary, 6 at the middle school, 7 at the high school, and 2 at Crest, 1 for ESC, and then in Ed Services, we have a TOSA. But we do have, in those positions, we do have several that we leave open because we have long-term subs working towards certification. So about half of those are long-term subs that are working to get their certification in that area so that we can hire them.
Good.
Okay. Have a good evening.
I've got a question real quick from the HR perspective. So we've talked about retirement savings and what the district offers our employees. And I know I saw at the new teacher orientation, there were some of the vendors there. Was that covered pretty in-depth as far as, even with Florida retirement system, even with Social Security, as we look down the road, some of these new teachers, some of these younger employees starting out really have to plan for the retirement and not count on Social Security, which we don't know what's going to happen to it in a 30 or 40 year period when they come to retire. So my question is, how much in-depth is that covered in those meetings, and what are we doing as far as really getting the word out there?
With regards to, I would have to discuss that with Sherry Cernich because that is part of her session that she presents. But I know that we do invite our local vendors and ask them to share their retirement options with our staff. And I also know that we are doing presentations for employees in the district to answer those retirement questions. And I know that it's stated that you don't have to go with this particular company, but we're here to answer questions and assist you in any way that we can and inform you of those retirement options that are available to us.
3 different seminars at night during the school year too.
Yes, they did. They conducted 3 different seminars that are open to our employees. And I hear they were very informative and very good.
Right, okay. All right.
But we encourage any vendor that wants to participate in new teacher orientation, we certainly encourage it. Another thing that we put into place this year is Lindy and I used to share our time with the vendors, and we separated that time out. We added another session so they would get to spend 50 minutes with our vendors so that we weren't rushed on time, so they had a chance to visit every vendor and receive information on banking, on retirement, on insurance, more information on our insurance, so that they had that opportunity to do that.
I mean, that tax deferred savings program that's offered by the IRS, by the federal government for people to save for retirement is really a great benefit. Even if they can just get in the habit of saving $20, $50 a month, it can really grow over time, and so that's a great benefit.
Luckily, I had my mom when I started teaching, and that's what she said from the very beginning, because you won't miss it. You're starting to get a large sum of money that you've never had before, so you won't miss that. So that is very important for our employees to be aware of that and to understand that. I agree with you.
I think that's a very good question Doug asked, because that is, kind of confusing, and there are a lot of things to know. Maybe one thing that we could do is to ask the teachers to send in to you or to somebody the questions that they might have, and see if those questions are answered, much like something we put out about the amendment, questions that people ask, and then we send the answers back. And so if you ask a question, and I never thought of asking that question, then I see your question, and now I know some information I can use, because there's so much, and you don't always think of asking the right question. And it's always a question that, had you asked, it'd been much better. So could we do that? Could we get some?
We often do. We use SurveyMonkey as we do with new teacher orientation. We send out, and we have timekeepers meetings, and we often use SurveyMonkey. So yes, that is something we could do, is to send out, just are you aware of this? Are you aware of this? And just send out a survey, and I can work with Sherry Cernich on that. I'm putting out a survey to all of our employees and collect information.
They'd get back the information from the survey. It would just be asked, you would get the results and then
Correct, we
share.
can share that as a frequently asked questions, yes.
Okay, and would you share with us also your board? So
Absolutely.
Okay,
We will make sure that we send the SurveyMonkey to the board as well,
okay, that would be.
so that you're able to see that, absolutely.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, one more thing. Susie, I'm sorry. I had it in my notes and I meant,
You're just trying to slip away, and he's not.
I know,
gonna let
and
you.
she's just,
I'm fine.
read some stuff, it's election time, so there's sometimes some information that's not always understood. There was a comment that was made that we don't do exit interviews or surveys anymore, and I didn't think that was accurate. Could you maybe just share with us what we do and that kind of just in a nutshell?
Yes, we do exit surveys where it gives an individual a chance to mark why they are leaving the district, whether it be they're moving out of the area, different employment opportunities. So we do still continue those exit surveys. We've also put on, we call it our green form, our recommendation form that we use for recommendations, retirements, resignations, leave of absence. We've changed that to put reason for leaving so that they can list, if they haven't attached a letter, they can list a specific reason so that we are collecting that information to share with the board so that we can share why teachers are leaving the district, yes.
And when do we usually get that disseminated to us, just for the public to understand?
In the fall,
That's what
in the fall.
And that's part of our state of the
That is
state
correct.
of the district.
We share that information in the fall, and every time, our department is very good, our ladies are very good. When we receive a resignation, that exit form must be included from the school. If it's not, then we call the school and just remind them to send that form with the resignation form, so we have that information to share.
And I know you do share it to us on an annual basis, but I do know that throughout the year, if there becomes an issue, that's something usually superintendent, you all are addressing, and you come to us if there's things that need to be changed, whether it's job policies, whether it's positions. Sometimes there's been where we've had to change, the grading of someone as far as the wages to attract, a more long-term employee. So I know that information you all, I think, are reviewing, is that correct? And then you use that information if there's issues?
That is correct, yes. If we see any concerns, yes, we share it, and that is correct. We look at the information and decide how we want to address it, absolutely.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank
I just
you.
wanted to make sure that was.
And I'm gonna ask something following up on what he was talking about. Do we still during the year send out surveys at each school to find out, what are we doing right, what do we need to correct? Do we?
Ms. Conlon, I'll let you address that, but I know that we do.
Do it.
Yeah, the schools do.
Okay, and then do we combine all of these with, so we can get a general path? Like if 20 schools say, well, we need to have more time in PE, then we will know that that's a concern of a lot of people. Do we combine it? Does someone look over all of it? or-
We look at them, we're not, they're usually tailored to the schools. They're not that generic.
Right, but does it give you maybe a pattern that might be occurring? Like I said, more minutes in PE, or maybe more science equipment, or no?
I don't recall anything that's come up like that.
I think
I'm
Title
sure
I,
that-
don't they with Title I now, that's part of that Title I department requirement of those school surveys? You talking about the parent ones or the staff ones?
Actually, both. I was talking about the parent ones, but both would be very, very
I
good.
think one of the things that came up in the staff surveys was the need for more technology training, which is driven some digital.
That would be a good idea for us to do.
That's- Stuff like that.
You just set me up, Thomas.
I'm
Yeah, that
sure,
would be.
I'm sure that if 20 schools said da-da-da-da, you would have picked up on it and you've responded to it.
I mean, we look at the results of all that.
I know you do.
And Ms. Himmel, since I've been in HR, has put into place, she meets with the new teachers as a group every year, and we have gotten lots of great feedback from those meetings where we've changed things and implemented things that maybe we didn't have in place before. So that's a really good program that Ms. Himmel has put into place for the district, is that opportunity to get feedback from our new teachers.
And I think during our school advisor enhancement councils, as they review some of that data, those conversations often kind of bubble up. And one of the challenges I know sometimes is, when people are kind of good, they start Christmas treeing it on that, they're all happy, and we kind of then try and look for, okay, do we have any patterns that are being affected? And safety and security becomes sometimes those issues that come up is, how kids are coming back and forth to the schools. And
The principals use that information to drive their school improvement plans more so. than the school.
Okay, I think now we can
All
say
right,
thank
thank
you.
you. Anytime if you have questions, concerns, always call, email me, text me, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank
Okay,
you.
appreciate it very much. Thank you. A motion to approve the minutes?
A motion to approve the minutes, that would be me.
second.
Okay. Ms. Bryan has moved to approve the minutes, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. All in favor? Carries 4-0. Next, we have at 5:30 a public hearing, 5:15 input from the citizens. It's not quite there yet, but I'm just telling you, we're going to have to probably take a recess before then and then come back. Right now, attorney legal matters.
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Kennedy, well, Mike, yes? Okay, Mr. Kennedy?
Yeah, I have just a couple of things. One, the Continual Contract Selection Committee is starting back up again. We it goes through our process of reviewing our selection of contractors. Most of it is outlined in statute, but this will be my third go-around with it, and I'm always pleased with the process, how open it is, the details that go into it. We are always cognizant of trying to use local subcontractors. Often the challenge that we have is, as is the case right now, we only have a few that have actually even bid to be a part of it, to be even on that. And for those of you who don't know, this is a rotating selection, so we select, for example, electricians or HVAC or roofers, and then they may be, we look whether they're going to be the primary or a secondary or a rotating basis of who we need, and those become those individuals. A lot of times they just don't have the bonding to be able to meet the minimum requirements. If we at all can, we often try and go with local. It just isn't always an option that we have. What's interesting is always sometimes the ones we choose will then sub their work out to a local person because the local person couldn't get the bonding. Oh, Doc, it's that.
That's a
it's
power
that thing
supply.
again. So we started that process up and we're just into the initial phases. It's usually of 4 meetings to do that.
Thomas, on that, because I look at them and it says a certain amount of money you've billed to in the last 5 years or something, and it's very high. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. I mean, even for example, there was one person that they didn't want to get their insurance for their vehicle insurance above our minimum threshold. And, I think we required a threshold that, protects the district and protects, our staff and our community. And they couldn't do that, and so they actually decided to not be part of that bid. Well, that particular one wasn't local, actually. But so there's different reasons they may not make that threshold to do that. But yeah, and certainly we're talking about roofers and things of that nature where it gets quite expensive. It's not that they can just easily. They have to be doing enough of that volume type of work to be able to do that. And Mr. Bradshaw is very particular about their contracts and how they are, and so that's that actually was part of conversation too, of making, you know, that are they going to be able to make that screening and make those minimum requirements. So it's a good thing. I want to mention too the technology training. I had an opportunity to present during it. Miss Lindy had asked me to present on providing technology tools for challenging for learning challenged students, and so I presented that. But what I think was amazing is, one, of course, the day started off tremendously honoring our law enforcement and our SROs. I think that moment of starting that and seeing that the Curtis Peterson Auditorium just get on their feet, and I think that's the loudest I've ever heard it while in there clapping for law enforcement, was just amazing. And then the words of the commissioner, thank you for sneaking her into Citrus County. Her words of her most personal comments about her challenge in recovery of cancer was memorable. It was clear she doesn't talk about it, as she said, much, but she felt comfortable enough in Citrus County to talk about it. I valued also what she said about technology. She said, basically, as you know, you don't see what we're doing in Citrus County around the state. And then she basically, I think, said something that has been, to me, the forefront of what we've been doing here, and that is about that technology, and really, or I should say curriculum, should be about standards-based, and not necessarily about a single book or a single textbook, but it needs to be deeper than that, about the standards. And I valued that, and I value that she sees past that. And I know Ms. Hemmel and Mr. Mullen, the curriculum team, that is exactly how their focus is. So it was a great day. Miss Lindy did an amazing job at putting that together. Everything from getting donated the monies for milk that they had there, the yogurt, and the breakfast in the morning, the educational foundation. We just couldn't do it without it being a complete team. Tomorrow I was asked to speak to the Citrus County Council as their featured speaker for the sales tax, and so I've got a large presentation that I'll be doing there. That's usually a friendly crowd for us, and so I think they often value that when resources are not all focused on ad valorem taxpayers having to fund that. So I'm very grateful for that. And then the last thing I would say is that the calendar committee had sent me a notice about it. In the past, the calendar committee had kind of set it up where it's the chairperson's choice to whether they want to take it or not. So I just wanted to make sure I lifted that out to you, Ms. Powers, to say whether you wanted it, whether you wanted me to serve it, or you want to reassign it, and I have no strong feelings either way.
I think with it, when we had you serve 2 years, we've confused everybody.
Exactly.
No one knows.
So, you know, you can even think about it for a second here, and you don't have to, but I just wanted to put that out there before that meeting. It's going to be middle of September. It will be the first meeting on that.
Okay, and which particular board are you talking about? Which group are you
Calendar committee.
Calendar.
The calendar committee. This is for choosing next year's calendar, school calendar. And I know the one important thing is all that we can do to align with the county fair. And that is always a minimum, and also Veterans Day parade. And I think that's all I have.
Mr. Dodd.
Well, I too will kind of reiterate Mr. Kennedy's comments about the Teacher Kickoff and the Digital Learning Day, and how wonderful that was to be there in that auditorium, and you know, to hear Pam Stewart speak, but also to honor the school resource officers and Sheriff Dawsey was fantastic, and it was very a very appropriate thing, I think, for us to do. And you know, we've got several new school resource officers that are, you know, going to be starting their career in the schools, and we're going to be losing Sheriff Dawsey. This is last year, but he had some nice words to say, and we gave him a very nice appreciation to his work and his support of the programs we have in our schools. So that was really neat, and I did hear a lot of good things too about the Digital Learning Day and the kind of the use of staff members and teachers to teach, you know, kind of train the trainer type thing. You know, it was really a good cost-effective way to get the word out there, because we do have a lot of experts in our district. So thank you to the superintendent for that. Also, I know there's a couple things up. The suicide prevention training that Ms. Humbaugh sent out to get out to all the instructional staff and administration, that we take that 2-hour online training, and I'm going to try to do it myself. I haven't done it yet. Maybe some of the board members have, but if not, I think it would be a wise thing for us all to try to do that, just to see that presentation. Unfortunately, we had an incident last year. I hope we never have that incident again in our schools, but we need to be prepared, and we need to do what we can to recognize warning signs and try to help students out as much as we can. So I appreciate the fact that that's out there now, and I hope our teachers and administration will take the time to do that if they haven't already reviewed that training. I was assigned, or I was elected as the vice chairman of the Value Adjustment Board. You know,
What an honor.
Mr. D'Amato is the chair, and Mr. Meek is the other county commissioner that's on there, and they're both stepping aside. However, the statute will not allow anyone but a county commissioner to be the
That's right, I was gonna
chairperson.
tell you
Thank
that.
goodness. They can always chair the meeting. But I guess I'm paying my dues as a new school board member. But with that, I will mention to the chair that it would be valuable for me to continue as that committee assignment for one more year before there will be a 5th board member that we may want to pass that baton to. I don't know.
Absolutely.
But so I just wanted to mention that to you as you look ahead as on the committee assignments. And then you know, we did some great things. Our school bus drivers and staff worked on the Stuff the Bus program. We had a lot of great turnout. And then
Saw your picture on Facebook.
Ryan Lampinosa over in Crystal River, the State Farm agent, he had a really a neat thing. He had the Stuff Our Bus, I think is what he called it. But he bought a Citrus County bus that we auctioned, and he has that bus, and he had it out there, and he was cooking hamburgers, and it's kind of a neat little thing there. Some teachers from Crystal River Primary were coming over, but people were bringing school supplies in, so he had done something a little bit too, and he told me when I was there, I think he'd already raised $1,600, and he was going to hopefully get a match. He was applying through a match to State Farm, and he's going to donate that money, he told me, to the Education Foundation. And so I was very encouraging of him and you know, his community involvement, community spirit. And I know, Mr. Kennedy, you were there too.
Yep.
So that was a great thing that we got out to support.
Well, the are there, I'm there to support them.
And I just look forward to a good school year. That's all I have.
Ms. Bryant,
Well, it's good to be back in Citrus County.
where were you?
I was in Alaska. I missed all of the beginning of school festivities, but I was really glad that the Chronicle put the school resource officer's pictures in the paper, because I'm related to one or two of them, I'm sure. One for sure.
And the rest she taught.
That's right.
I don't know about that. At any rate, it's good to be home. Thank you.
Oh, it's good to have you home. I went to another meeting where we had the county commissioners, one person there, Ron Kitchen, the school board, and the councils on both cities, and we talked about various and sundry things. Actually, those meetings are going quite well because we are discussing mutual interests. One thing they talked about was the fishbowl over in Crystal River, and the need that it had to have some new glass in it. The glass is old and foggy. It was put there in the 60s. Excuse me. And so they wrote a letter. In fact, I just got it today, right before I came over here, and I'm going to pass it out to you. They wrote a letter to Senator Simpson, excuse me, asking for him to support the monies for new windows for the fishbowl, and you know how many people go over there. I'm sure all of us go all the time, I know I do. So I'm gonna send a letter around, if you'll read that. And then I'm gonna send one that I began writing, and I was gonna get Linda to type it up for us, but I think I cut it a little too short, so she looked at me like, are you crazy? I can't. But that's the letter that they wrote to request funding support of the Homosassa State Park Fishbowl window replacement.
Ms. Powers, are you looking for us to also just maybe give you direction in the sense of,
Right,
of
and
actually formally saying if you would, okay?
Yes, and I began writing the letter, it's not totally completed yet, but the body of it is totally completed. The only thing that's not completed is Mr. Simpson's address and stuff. So Linda will take and type those, she'll give you some more. And then if y'all say okay, then we'll send it.
I definitely think you should.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think in a way it's sort of like a new day dawning with cooperation. You know, we tried this, excuse my voice thing, a few years ago, and we had some cooperation, but then it sort of stopped. But now we're doing it more and more, and we're finding mutual grounds that we all can say, yes, let's do that, let's get behind that.
Ms. Powers, I'll meet with Senator Simpson at the end of the month if you would like me to. I know the county's mailing theirs, but I could hand that copy and hand them your copy if you'd like me to.
That would be absolutely,
Excellent.
I like that, it's like Wells Fargo, yes, very good.
Ms. Bradshaw, should we make a motion for it? Do you see it, or do you need?
Yeah, would you, no, I'd like you to make a.
Okay, I'd make a motion that we direct the chairperson to send a letter in support to Senator Simpson and to any other representatives you feel deemed appropriate in support of the Fishbowl Observatory restoration.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Dodd, to send a letter in support of the fishbowl replacement and repair. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Carries 4-0. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you for doing and bringing it up.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for voting for it, and I'm really looking forward to going over there and looking, being able to see the manatee instead of all this fog. That would be great to see.
And we sent our students go there. That's a very popular field trip.
Yes,
It's
it is.
you know, it's very important to the economic development too of our community. People come
It is.
there.
As is our schools.
And well,
Yes.
in tourism, if the sales tax, or when the sales tax does get through, 20%, maybe we can make it, 22% that gets paid for by
Hey,
that.
good thinking, absolutely good thinking. And when we were at the orientation or presentation over in Canto, and Pam Stewart was there and you were there, and as I sat there, I was thinking, I've taught in many counties and I've worked in many counties in the state of Florida. I have never seen any of those I was in have anything going like that. Never. And some of the new teachers, they said the same things. Golly, you are doing that for us? And it's remarkable, and
I heard
kudos
it
to
top
Sam.
the superintendent's motorcycle coming out.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking these are
And I thought that was,
wonderful.
I didn't think that was maybe even possible to top.
Well, maybe when we get the windows to the fishbowl, then we can get the superintendent to put on the scuba gear and go in.
And wave to us.
Yes.
I could do that.
We could do a live feed from under the water.
It's good. That's
I'd rather be in a
Wiki-waki.
mermaid outfit.
And we keep watching.
It's like a mermaid.
We'll have the superintendent in tails.
There you go, that I
And we'll
could do.
film it on the KTK?
There we go.
Good.
You all keep planning
I
though.
think we'll do that, Ginger. Let's make sure all of us plan that. Thanks very much. Ms. Himmel.
As we keep moving through on the half-cent sales tax, I spoke to Rotary today, but a couple things just so everybody's on the same page. I paid out of my campaign funds a mailer, and the foundation is getting ready to send out a mailer, and the CCEA delivered 400 signs, because Vicki kept 100, because they wouldn't fit in my truck. But, so those have been passed out, and then there's a group that wants to get us 500 more. So they're gonna get that, and I've been speaking to a few groups, and we've been going around the schools, and I've told them all that the school board attorney said I could not ask them to vote for it or anything, and I'd never have said vote for it, okay? So, that's Mr. Mullen, he's been with me. However, today I was asked a question that And I talked to Mr. Bradshaw today, but I know the form's coming up on the 11th, and this person said you might want to get an answer because you may be asked this question. What they asked me was, who will monitor the 10-year sunset? And I said, well, the last time we had a property tax at the end of the 2 years, or whatever year, it went away. So I've asked Mr. Bradshaw to let us all hear the same answer, so that if you are asked that question, then we'll be able to tell them what our school board attorney said. Mr. Bradshaw?
Well, the monies are collected by the Department of Revenue. We have to, as within so many days after the resolution passes, to notify the Department of Revenue and send them a copy of it so that they can, be ready, and that's where the funds end up going. So the funds will go to the Department of, just the basic way that this works is funds go to the Department of Revenue. It's held in a separate trust. It's called the Discretionary Sales Surtax Clearing Trust Fund. Each county has their own, and then once a month they distribute the tax monies back, back to the counties, or the half cent will end up coming to us. If you change anything, then you have to notify them within 10 days of any change or of a referendum if you want to end it early or anything else like that. But I think the Department of Revenue will keep track of when it's going to end at the end of the 10 years.
So they would collect it as
Yeah.
They collect
they're the
it.
one that collects it, so
Correct.
it's not.
You go and you buy something, the tax monies from the dealer, gets sent, they collect the sales tax there, they send it to the Department of Revenue, they keep track of the counties from where, each county has its own basically separate trust, and then once a month they redistribute the monies back to the taxing authority.
Thanks,
No,
Greg.
it was-
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr.
It was interesting, and I pointed this out some, but you can go to the State of Florida website and pull up the discretionary sales surtax information for the calendar year. And what is surprising to me is the number of counties who have surtax, or who have a surtax that have no expiration date on it. So I guess those counties must have to vote it out. We are not doing that. We have an expiration date.
Correct.
And so I notice on here, it looks like there's about half of them, maybe more than half, a little more than half, that have expiration dates.
Counties or school boards?
This just is the discretionary sales tax, surtax information for all, it's just for the counties what their sales tax rate is. It doesn't say what the sales tax is going for.
Okay.
It just shows you the rate, the surtax rate.
Okay.
And it shows you the effective date and it shows you the expiration date. But I was surprised that many of these counties have no expiration date. Levy, Liberty County, they both have none. Madison has none. Miami-Dade has none. They've been in effect since January 1, 1992. So, but it's interesting, and maybe that's for the time period where they passed it and they were allowed to do that. I don't know, but I think what we've decided on was the appropriate way to go. It's what the needs are. We're looking out for our needs, and so I think.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but,
No.
but the county to impose a sales surtax it's under the same statute, but under a different paragraph of the statute. So we have to do things a little bit, different than the county does. But then y'all made the decision to do a 10-year one, I think, like you just said, based upon our needs. So I can't answer to why the county.
Yeah, no. I know, and it's just interesting though that is in there, and you can go on the website and pull it up yourself. I'm sure there's legal issues that deal with that, but we, have a 10-year. This is a 10-year surtax.
Correct.
Added sales tax. Yeah.
That's great. We have it at 5:15. Citizen comments. It's 5 o'clock now, so we're going to take a few minutes break, be back at 5:15, and we'll ask for anyone who wants to make a comment. If no one does, then we'll take another break and then be back at 5:30 for the public hearing.
Okay.
We'll stand in recess for a few minutes.